What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to dissect my song, Better Things. So if you guys haven't watched the YouTube channel, we have our series Dissect Inspired by Genius, where we kind of go a little bit into the backstory, production, and the lyrics behind all the music I make. Today we're going to be doing my new song, Better Things. This is the first single off my next album called Strangers in the Dark. If you haven't listened to this song yet, we got the link in the description. Definitely go check that out if you haven't listened to it. Don't have to listen to it before you watch the rest of the video, but definitely encourage you. So if you guys haven't already watched an episode of Dissect, we have 6 questions we ask about every song. We're just going to get straight into it today. So first question we ask about every song is, what's the heart behind the song? So for this song, like I just mentioned, this is the first single off of my next album called Strangers in the Dark, coming early next year, late January. Stay tuned for that. So for this song, kind of when I was writing it, this was the first song that I wrote, made the beat and wrote for this next album. So I knew this, something that I knew I wanted to do was just kind of start introducing the theme for the album in this song. So as far as like the message, if you listen to the song, there's really kind of 2 main messages, as well as kind of maybe a third like kind of, guide for it. The first part is basically it's just, I really, when I was writing this, really wanted to come with the bars, really like have some good writing, really, this beat, if you listen to the song, has a lot more of older, more classic hip-hop influence, which is something that I really like and want to do more in my music. And thanks to like different sampling things and stuff, I've been able to really do that, I think, with this album. So I really want to do that well and write, have some bars, change the flows up, things like that. So that was definitely a big something I set out while I was writing this song to make sure I was doing that. As far as like the 2 messages for the song, there's really 2 of them. So like I said, the first one is really just trying to start introducing the theme for this album, and that's really through the outro. So there's an outro in this song where the sample kind of breaks down a little bit into like the different stems, and I have this little like outro rap spoken word thing, and then through that outro, which I repeat a couple different times throughout this next album, kind of just starting to introduce those themes. So kind of the theme of this album, Strangers in the Dark, how I got the title, kind of just I had this image of 2 people kind of sitting in a room, pitch black, they're not moving, both of them don't even realize the other person is there. I think kind of in the same way, we kind of go about our day-to-day lives, we pass by people, and we don't really realize, everybody has a story, everybody's human. We kind of know it, but, maybe we don't treat people that way. So, something that, like, also kind of inspired me while I was thinking about this album and the theme, just kind of, seeing, like, those NPC trends, where, but in reality, that isn't a real thing. Everybody's human, everybody has a story. So, kind of looking at that outro, everybody has a story. Do you see it? Believe it? Kind of talking about, our shared humanity, just kind of a big theme to this album. So that was something with this song I just wanted to introduce through the outro. Like, this is the first song, both the first single for this album, and it's the first song in the track list. So just kind of starting to introduce that theme, there for the outro before you get into the rest of the album. And the third and final message kind of throughout the song is just moving to better things. Just kind of personally for me, believing, I'm moving to better things, whether it's, hopefully through my music, making a career out of that, and then also just in life in general. Just that's kind of the other message. Obviously it's the title, Better Things. Kind of just that last section there, been moving to better things. Like shopping for wedding rings, all that, just kind of having that message of, I believe I'm moving for better things. So that's really kind of the heart behind the song. Moving on to the next question, what's your favorite part lyrically? So like I just mentioned in the last question, I really wanted to come with the bars on this one, really have some good verses. When I wrote them, I really liked my verses. I thought they were some of the best verses I had written up until this point, and I think they are really good. I think I actually have some better verses on the album, which kind of just to say that. But I think just going through this, this is like, there's no hook on this song, just straight rap all the way through, so there's a lot of stuff to break down. I'll break down a couple sections here. Like I said, I think the first thing, there are 2 sections that initially kind of inspired me writing. First one is this line at the beginning, my bag's so deep, only me and God know, I'm balling so hard like Rondo. So that line just kind of, I had it written down, part of my writing style. Sometimes I have a note in my Apple Notes that sometimes, I'm driving or I'm at work or whatever, and I just come up with kind of a line. I just write it down there, and, whether I necessarily have a song for it in mind or just write it down just in case, I'm going to end up using it someday or maybe I won't. This was one of those lines that I had, and I ended up having to kind of rewrite it a little bit just to fit the beat. But this line, I think, also kind of a little bit tying into the Better Things like theme. One of the things that inspired me writing it was this line, just kind of tying into this feeling of, I feel like, I feel like a little underrated, underappreciated. My kind of that line meaning, my bag being like my talents or my skill set. I think a lot of times I think of all the things that I'm doing. I'm making, these YouTube videos. I know how to make videos. I produce all my music. Rap. I mix and master my stuff. I do the marketing. Graphic design, make the merch, all these different things. And I think, sometimes it feels like to a lot of people that are closer to me, feels like either, they don't recognize that, or, to them, or even just to acquaintances, kind of just see me more so for the circumstances that I'm in, like, oh, you're just working full time, all that stuff. So that was kind of that line, what the meaning is personally for me, is that, just kind of feeling like, for what I'm doing, I'm not getting recognized by the people I know as much. So that kind of inspired that. That was kind of the inspiration for that line. I'll go down here to another section that I really like, and then we have one more after that. So this section here, it's in the second. If you listen to the song, it's got a little bit of a beat switch. So this is in technically maybe what you would call the second verse. So it's a little bit after it starts. So I gotta win. It's just the first quarter. I'll keep fighting right until my life's in order. Yeah, you're fairly local with some fake supporters. I got foreign fans, but that's not important. Like, damn. Okay, so I really liked this section just because I feel like I'm not I don't rap super fast a lot of times. But this is one where I was able to kind of go a little more choppy, like machine gunny, which I thought was really cool. Also, just the line, you've got you're fairly local with some fake supporters. I got foreign fans, but that's not important. Again, just kind of tying into that, even that beginning line of feeling like underrated. Kind of putting like, hey, I got like these fans, I got like, hundreds of fans in a bunch of different countries in Europe, listen to me monthly on Spotify, all that stuff. And then also just something that I thought was cool and I didn't intend to, but my brother picked up on, the line, I'll keep fighting right until my life's in order. It's got kind of a cool homophone in it. I believe that's right. So it's, I'll keep fighting, writing something until my life's in order. But when he made the lyric for the video, he actually misinterpreted it as I'll keep fighting right until my life's in order, which I thought was kind of a cool double meaning with that line that I didn't even intend to do, but I thought was kind of cool. So I'll keep fighting, writing, like fighting, comma, writing, and then right until my life's in order. So I thought that was kind of dope. Like I said, lots of different stuff here. I could talk about the lyrics forever. We'll have one more section here. This was the second section that kind of inspired me writing. So it's this line, like I say, it inspired the title as well, but been moving to better things, like shopping for wedding rings. Looking back a couple of years ago, this is where it was meant to be. Back from the basement, I got a facelift still at my crib, that's apartment 2. I hear them hating, but I've been changing, came a long way from the kid you knew. So that, like I said, this was also, this is part of the very first stuff I wrote for this song. And, obviously inspired the title, Better Things. And when I initially wrote it, I wrote it for the first half, and I ended up moving to the second half where we had the beat change, and I felt like it fit a little better, and just finishing out with that theme, the message a little more. So again, just kind of tying into that theme personally of feeling like I'm moving for better things, where, through my music, we're growing, doing all this stuff, I'm working on it, hoping, dreaming to make it through music, moving to better things, and also a lot of, some of those other themes, like, I hear them hating, but I've been changing, came a long way from the kid you knew. So again, reinforcing that theme of, feeling, got the chip on my shoulder, which I think is kind of a good place to be sometimes. So kind of just reinforcing that message of, I feel like I can do this, I'm doing this, maybe don't feel recognized for it, but, I'm still progressing, I'm still doing these things. So that is basically it for the lyrics. Like I said, I could talk about that for a lot. Next question here is going to be, what's your favorite part musically? For this one, I definitely encourage you, we got the Deconstructed we're going to have for this, where I show you how to make the beat for this one. Super excited for that one. We'll have that coming out soon if it isn't out already by the time this video is posted. So my favorite part musically for this song is definitely the sample, which is something I say in a lot of my dissect videos, just because I love sampling. I love bringing life to different songs and creating something unique that someone else hasn't made before. So for this song, I got all my samples for this album off of TRACklib, which is how I'm able to sample and do things, which I'm really happy because I've always wanted to do that. So this song is like a soul song from, I believe it's like the 70s. It's a group called Flashlight. Its song title is Every Little Beat of My Heart. Definitely check it out. It's a great song. I try to my very hardest to sample songs that I love the original song as well, not just how I'm sampling it. And the original song is great. It's like it's a pretty long song. It's like 6 or 5 minutes. I think it's got a key change in there. But I used 2 sections for it, and it's just really, really dope. This is like the first beat I feel like I've made where it really feels like a lot of the artists that have inspired me, but also has my own take on it. So, like, Jay-Z, Kanye, Drake, Kendrick, all these people that, J. Cole, all those people that I really love, feels like a beat that they would rap on, but also is like unique to me. So that was something I really liked. Second part I really like musically here is the drums, which is also something I say in a lot of my dissect videos. But I really like the drums. I think, we have a lot of different percussion and little ear candy things going on in there. We've got the perk loop. It's got a lot of energy. It also, just through the arrangement, was able to get a lot of progression in the song, so it isn't super stale. So I really liked that. I think probably, 2 main things: sample both the normal version and the pitch down, and then the drums. Both halves of the drums are really dope, but especially the first verse. I like those drums a lot. Moving on to the next question is, how long did it take you to make? So this one, I don't really remember when I started making this beat. I think I started making it around last fall while I was in the middle of making Uphill From Here, and I just kind of wanted to make a new beat, so I was just browsing TrackLib, just starting to get into that, and I just found the sample and started making it. So I worked on it on and off a little bit, and then, once I wrapped up the album, I took a couple weeks and just kind of started, alright, let's keep the foot on the gas, let's keep grinding. And this was the beat that I had the most started for, and I had the most written for this next album. So I was like, alright, let's just, I want to do a single for this album real soon, so we can, again, keep my foot on the gas, keep the pressure on me, keep going, keep the ball rolling. So I knew I wanted to do the single, and I was like, I feel like this would be a good one, high energy, it's got the sample, I really want to come with the bars. So this is the first one I wrote and finished. I think from that moment, when I started working more intentionally on it, it was probably like a month or so until it was done, and then, ready to go and send it off to my engineer, Shane, and he just, kind of locked in on it. So I think about a month for how long this one took, more or less. Next question here is going to be, was there any musical inspiration for the song? So for this one, kind of like I maybe alluded to a little bit, this was a song, and just for my music in general, and especially for this album, I really wanted to make something that was really true to a lot of, like, classic hip-hop sound, the chop samples, soul samples, just a lot of different things like that of the artists that I look up to, like, or that have especially inspired me, like, lyrically, like J. Cole, Mac Miller, Drake, all these artists that I've listed off, So that was definitely a huge musical inspiration, was trying to create something that, like, kind of fit in that lane, or, kind of honored that legacy, while still also, especially just throughout the album, still sampling songs that I thought were dope, and that I liked, and were also maybe a little different than what other people would sample, but were just stuff that I liked. So that was definitely the main musical inspiration, was just trying to, honor that genre and really do hip-hop justice with this album and this song. Just really do something that really, like, fit, and, like, honor the influences, that I've heard, and, the people artists that have come before me. Last question in here is going to be, what was the hardest part of making this song? Hardest part for making this song, I think, was going to be probably, I think there were a couple little minor challenges. I think writing to a certain degree, and also arrangement. When we talk about the arrangement for this song, like I said, there's no hook. So I think the arrangement was maybe a little more difficult with this one, just from the standpoint of trying to keep the song interesting while it is just one long verse. So I think, trying to figure out where to add energy, where to take it away, what elements need to be in there. So I think that was maybe a little difficult. And then I think the other part, again, just the writing, trying to push myself and really, with where's the flows and the cadence, or, the different rhyme schemes, or trying to come up with, the different metaphors and things like that. So I think, or like the wordplay, different things. So I think those 2 things were the hardest part for this song, was getting the arrangement correct, so where it made sense and was also interesting the whole way through. I think the outro really helped with that. And then also, just writing the verses and make sure the verses are written really well. So I think those 2 things were the hardest part for this song. well, that is going to be it for this episode of Dissect, guys. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, we got a lot more coming. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, my new album should be coming out early next year, so stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. I think it's going to be great. Super excited for you guys to hear it. That is going to be all for today. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.